Hey there, Posse. Are you looking to learn more about how to take care of or store your wine? This one's for those who want to go actually to the next level with your wine. Are you ready? Come on, let's go. Hey there, Posse. I'm Pierre, and welcome to Asti Wine Consultants. Storing wine is a fine art, and actually by fine art, I mean trying to keep the bottles from rolling off the kitchen counter while you're trying to figure out how to age your wine like a pro. Now, in this particular episode, we'll talk about the 10 things you need to do to take care of and store your wine. Let's get started. Keep it cool, but not cold. Wine likes a nice, cool environment. Think basement rather than fridge. Now, the ideal temperature is between 45 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, but you don't need a degree in enology to figure that one out. Just don't store it next to your oven unless you're aiming for a fine vinegar. Next up is you want to lay it down flat. Always store your wine bottles on their sides, especially if they have a cork. This keeps the cork moist, which prevents it from drying out and letting air get into it. Air equals bad. We're storing wine here, not trying to run a science experiment on oxidation. Lay your wine down is like tucking it in for a nap. Actually, nobody wakes up in a good mood if they're all dried out. Avoid sunlight. Wine hates sunlight as much as vampires and people who forget the sunscreen. UV rays degrade the wine and mess with its flavor, so keep those bottles out of the sun's glare. Now, unless you're turning it into a sun tea or a sun wine, keep it from any windows. Wine prefers the vampire style. How are you doing there? Is this information making some sense? If it is, please write Asti in the comments below. Now, by the way, for a more professional sommelier approach to this whole topic, you might want to check out this video. Now, keep the humidity just right. Wine likes a little moisture in the air. Somewhere between 60% and 70% humidity is perfect. Too dry, the cork shrinks. Too humid, and well, you got a sticky, moldy bottle situation. It's not cute. Wine storage is like Goldilocks. Not too dry, not too wet. We want this one that's just right. Now, don't move it around. Once your wine finds its cozy resting spot, leave it alone. Don't shake it, rattle it, or roll it. Wine is delicate, kind of like your friend who's too hungover to move. It needs peace and quiet to age gracefully. Your wine is not a snow globe. Stop shaking it around unless you're planning to decant it, into a blender. Please don't do that. Now, stay away from the kitchen. The kitchen is full of temptations and fluctuating temperatures. These are terrible for wine. Between the heat from your stove and the cold from your fridge, your wine is basically in a temperature limbo. Better to store it someplace where it can relax like a dark, cool closet or actually that mysterious closet that you never use. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Unless you give your wine a sauna treatment, keep it as far away from your oven's existential crisis. Another thing to avoid is strong smells. Wine is like a sponge. It soaks up all the aromas around it. Store it next to the garlic and you might end up with a wine that smells like an Italian restaurant. That's fun for the pasta night, but really not great with your tasting notes. Wine's sensitive to smells, kind of like a gossipy neighbor. Store it next to strong odors and it'll be whispering about the garlic and the onions for weeks. Don't store your wine upright. Well, unless it's sparkling or has a screw cap. Sparkling wine and champagne can be stored upright, but regular wine should be laid down, keeping that cork moist. If you store non-sparkling wine upright too long, you're basically just giving it a slow countdown to spoilage. Keep it away from vibrations, the next thing. Wine is not a fan of constant movement or vibrations. Storing it on top of your refrigerator, which vibrates every time it runs, is like giving your wine a bumpy roller coaster ride you never asked for. Stick with calmer environments. Wine prefers peaceful Zen vibes, not feeling like it's on a non-stop carnival ride. Be patient, but not too patient. Some wines age beautifully, but not every bottle of wine is destined to become a vintage treasure. Be mindful of the type of wine you have. Most of them are meant to be drunk within a few years, say right around 5 or 6 years. Don't let it gather dust thinking you'll stumble upon a wine miracle in 2045. Wine is like cheese. Age the good stuff, but don't leave that grocery store cab sitting around for 6 years and expect it to evolve into a beautiful Bordeaux. Well, there you have it. By following these simple rules, you'll keep your wine in top shape. Now, the only questions are, when are you going to drink it, and am I invited? Cheers. Hey Posse, thanks a ton for taking the time to watch this video. I promise no grapes were harmed in the making of it. Well, maybe just a few. Now, if you got any questions, let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you don't want to miss out on any of my future content, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. Oh, and before you go, don't forget to check out some of these other videos. Until next time, cheers.